But we begin with the breaking news in Lower Manhattan Court on Donald Trump's hush money case. Judge Juan Merchan sentencing President-elect this morning after a jury convicted him for trying to influence the 2016 election.
And Mr. Trump appeared virtually and told the court he did nothing wrong and was treated unfairly. He was sentenced to what's being called an unconditional discharge. Essentially, it amounts to no penalty at all except for the legal designation of being a convicted felon.
Eyewitness News reporter Lauren Glassberg live in Lower Manhattan with more. Lauren.
Yeah, David and Sandra, today's sentencing took months to happen after many delays, ending what has really been an extraordinary case from the very start. Donald Trump was the first former president, to face criminal charges. And now that Trump has been re-elected to office, he will be the first person sworn in as president, a convicted felon. The president-elect remained at Mar-a-Lago attending the sentencing remotely, his attorney and possible future Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche at his side. And as he did throughout his trial, he said again that this case was a witch hunt and he was treated unfairly.
The fact is that I'm totally innocent. I did nothing wrong.
Judge Juan Merchan had already said Trump wouldn't face jail time, fines, probation, or community service, but today's proceeding was an important step in providing closure. Judge Merchan distinguished between Trump the citizen and Trump the president.
It is the legal protections afforded to the office of the President of the United States that are extraordinary, not the occupant of the office.
And that in this case, Trump is a citizen.
One power they do not provide is the power to erase a jury verdict.
In May, a jury found Trump guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business documents in an effort to cover up hush money payments to a porn actress. News of an encounter with Stormy Daniels could have negatively impacted Trump's bid for the presidency. Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, testified that Trump came up with the scheme to falsify documents to cover up $130,000 in payments. Trump took aim at Cohen today.
This is a man who's got no standing. He's been disbarred on other matters, unrelated, and he was allowed to talk as though he were George Washington.
And for months, Trump's legal team tried to stop this sentencing through the appellate courts and even through the Supreme Court, which last night in a 5-4 vote denied his bid to stop the sentencing. Now, this conviction could have resulted in up to 4 years behind bars, but the judge imposed that unconditional discharge, possibly the only viable option with Trump headed to the White House in just 10 days. Now, Trump had called Judge Merchan crooked. Today, the judge wished him Godspeed as he assumes his second term in office. And of course, Trump's legal team will be appealing the verdict. Live in Lower Manhattan, Lauren Glassberg, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.